How does this bill differ from the one that Senator Cafaro introduced earlier in the summer?
We share the same goals. Senator Cafaro's bill achieved these objectives in a slightly different way, but the major component, of course, was Senate Bill 163 directly included Medicaid expansion.
Mm-hmm. But it's still the same, I guess, projected savings and bending of the cost curve, the same sort of figures are you getting there?
We share the same concepts, but Senator Cafaro's bill was slightly more prescriptive. This one's slightly more open, but the objectives and goals are the same.
Senator, do any of the proposals that you're presenting today involve having to get a federal waiver?
No, they do not.
And if expansion should happen down the road, would there be any problem with these proposals being applied to that population as well?
This proposal is not impacted with or without Medicaid expansion.
But this, if your bill should pass and expansion should also pass, would this apply to the Medicaid expansion population?
It would apply to the Medicaid system regardless of the shape that it may take.
What is the timeline on the consideration of the bill?
Well, we're hoping to drop the bill today before the clerk's office closes. That is certainly our objective. And we would like to see this bill starting as soon as possible. If you remember the first chart, I would have loved to have passed this in 2009 when I came down. So I'll take next week if the Senate and the House have the appetite for it. But as you know, this is a complicated issue. And it's a new directive. It's a policy-type directive for the General Assembly and the administration. But it is the proper course. And we'll certainly work hard to move this legislation.
How do you assess the success rate of this bill versus, as you say, since 2009 you've been trying to push something like this? What are the hurdles and can this pass?
It's the way we do business. On a budgetary process, it's a thou shalt not spend more than. And again, we're taking the long view. I'm not looking at mile markers anymore. I'm looking at destinations. And we're charting a course to get to a certain place. And we will adjust accordingly along that path. But rather than look, I guess, hash mark to hash mark, if this was a sporting game, we're looking for the end zone and the ultimate goal. And you can tell the achievement that brings to the system when you take the long view in Medicaid, one that we simply haven't had. It's been a 24-month process. And as you well know, that process changes depending on who's governor and who's Medicaid director. We'd like to add continuity to that process and a shared vision regardless of who governs or leads in the General Assembly.
Why introduce a new bill? Why not just do a sub-bill to the one that you currently have out on this issue?
Good question. We've matured on the process. As you remember, we first focused on a very directive-driven approach. And we've opened up that door to one that is a pure policy approach. There are many things the administration can do in the Medicaid system without legislative help, without waivers, without state plans. They just need legislative support on those policies. That coupling, again, has not occurred in the past. We want to institute that coupling and give a sense of direction to the hardworking folks in the Medicaid system to achieve shared objectives that move the Medicaid system forward.
Why is it important not to have this expansion be a part of this plan?